The title of this message this morning is the storm bigger than your faith? Like I said, just got back from Boston and Martha's Vineyard after having a wonderful weekend. And good morning, Joseph. Everyone's in a panic. Everybody's just, oh my God, you know, this storm is going to hit us. Good morning, Jennifer. And obviously coming from Tennessee, you know, I'm used to having storms, but obviously being new to Florida, I'm not as accustomed to the different but the hurricanes, obviously, that's projected to really hit the bulk of Florida. But I guess I'm really just a little bit, we know that the prayers of the righteous availeth much. I'll just say that. And like I said, the title of this is the storm bigger than your faith? I don't know if you guys are familiar with the scripture about Jesus and the disciples being on the boat in Matthew chapter 8, where the disciples were like really freaking out, thinking that they were going to die and all of this because of the storm raging on the boat. Now, Jesus was in the bottom of the boat sleeping, right? And, you know, when Jesus got up and came to the top, you know, they woke him up, he was just like, you know, ye of little faith, where's your faith? You know, and we do know that in life, storms are going to come, you know, but we do have the power to speak to that storm, just like Jesus had the power to speak to the storm and actually was really training the disciples in the power that he was about to give to them. And so I'm saying all this to say that we're all in an uproar and a panic about this storm that's coming. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be prepared, that you shouldn't get prepared. Good morning, Otis. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take the necessary precautions, because one thing that my mom always taught me is to expect the worst and look for the best. And meaning that you should always be prepared for whatever life may throw your way. However, our faith should be bigger than the storm. Our faith should not have us fearful, because the Bible says that he did not give us the spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. So we actually need to be preparing ourselves to be of assistance to those who are maybe not as further along in their faith walk as we are. Good morning, Travis. Or we should really be preparing to how we can help those who may actually, you know, not take heed to some of the necessary precautions, but never act like we're a people who don't serve an awesome and amazing God. I mean, because, you know, we have these scriptures that we can go to so easily. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. You know, my faith is bigger than my fear. You hear people say these things all the time, but when we're actually presented with the opportunity to see if our faith is going to rise, what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are being overcome with fear of the unknown or what may happen. But I just really want to get a few Christians this morning to stand with me, to really get down on their knees with me and go to the throne of heaven, that this storm will not only weaken, but that it will basically disintegrate, because we do have that power. We have that power as Christians. And I want us to really, you know, I really want us to get that, you know, in our minds and in our spirits, and understand that, you know, when we say no weapon formed against us shall prosper, when we say that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, believe that. Do not allow fear to overcome you to the point to where you cannot function. You cannot do the things that God would have you to do. We cannot go around acting just like the world and fearing things, we have to say, hey, you know what, really my faith is bigger than my fear. My faith is bigger than anything that can come at me. I don't care what kind of storm it is. And of course, keep in mind, it's not to say that the storms of life are not going to come, whether it's a physical storm in the form of this hurricane that's being predicted to be so bad, or whatever it may be. It could be a diagnosis, from a doctor, whatever it may be. We have to get past the point of where we're not walking in the power that God has given us, nor are we even attempting to do what God would have us to do, and that is pray. Because just like he told the disciples in Matthew chapter 8, good morning, Miranda. Good morning, Tyrus. Good morning, Ulysses. But just like he said to the disciples in Matthew chapter 8, ye of little faith. They were so concerned about their lives. They were so concerned that death was upon them because the storm was raging so. They didn't see how they were going to get out, but they didn't realize that they could speak to the storm. They was just like when Jesus spoke to the storm and said, peace be still. They were like in awe, like as if that wasn't something that they could do. They were walking with God himself, but they didn't even realize the power that they had with them, but also the power that they had within them to speak to that storm and to calm that storm. So I just really want to encourage you guys on this morning that if you are a child of the Most High God like I am, you will speak to this Hurricane Irma. You will speak to any storm that comes into your life, and you will tell it to peace be still, because you have that power. You have the control of the situation, and then still be prepared, because it doesn't mean that there's not going to be some rain. We may get some rain. We may get some flooding. We may get some of those things that are uncomfortable, but life does not end with the storm, and we can't allow the storm to make us so fearful that we become paralyzed and we automatically think the worst of God, because we are his children. He said that no weapon formed against us will prosper. So that means he gives us a sound mind to think and to act accordingly, not to be fearful and in an uproar and just acting like we don't really have a God. He did not give us that mindset. And so, again, like I said, I'm just here to try to encourage people this morning to really think about that, walk in that, because, the reason why the world is going the way it is because us who are Christians, we almost act like we don't have a God, when we do. We have a God that sits high and looks low, and he really has our best interests at heart. He allows us to go through things sometimes to strengthen our faith. And I do believe that these storms that have been taking place here of late are to encourage us to come together, to truly seek his face, to seek his will for our lives and for our country as a whole. So, we got to quit acting just like the world who, really has no God. I see too many people talk about God, but how many people are actually going to the throne of God when these type of situations are predicted? Or not just, like I said, not just the physical storm, but also the storms that we endure in our lives. I see too many of us allowing these situations to get the best of us. Good morning, Miss Jacqueline. Been a long time. We're allowing these storms to get the best of us instead of us getting the best of the storm, because we got the power again to calm the storm. We got the power to speak life over any situation. We got the power to speak life into a dead situation. And I just want to encourage us this morning to let our faith be bigger than our fear, not the other way around. I didn't really come on here to try to preach this morning, but I just hope that I sparked just a little bit of something in our hearts and in our minds this morning. If you are a child of the Most High God, start acting like it. Quit acting in fear, because you got too many people around you who don't know God. So it's time for us to buckle down, truly start walking in the things that we say that we believe, and believe God for what he said. Believe him. Believe that we can calm the storm. Believe that our faith is bigger than our fear. Should be anyway. Believe that we're more than conquerors. Believe that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Believe that we should be in preparation. Meaning our minds need to constantly be in preparation for the things of God, for the things that he would have us to do. Do not allow worldly views to sway you and allow you, because those are really tools of the enemy. I have to say, there are tools of the enemy. I've lived on this earth long enough to know, and I've experienced so many things time after time after time in my own personal life that I know that I can speak to a thing and it be so. I can. And so can you. Believe. Good morning, Miss Diane. Good morning, Johnny. Speak to this storm, guys. Stand with me. We have the power within our very being. Our very being. We have that power. And so we have a lot of different videos that can go viral that's about nothing. I want this video to go viral. And don't get this twisted. This is not about Tuwana. This is about the power of prayer. I really want to, we've had the ice bucket challenge. We've had all these different challenges out here. I want to challenge, especially all of my Tennessee family, my newfound Florida family. I want us to stand together, come together in unison. Good morning, Monique. And let's speak to this storm and see how God works. Because there is power in our prayer. I speak that this storm, we can stand in agreement. And if you agree with me, you can share the video. You can say amen, whatever. Just, I want us to make sure we're in unison. We're in unity and believing that we can calm this storm that's said to do so much damage to the state of Florida and to Puerto Rico, the Dominican, all these different islands that the storm is supposed to go over. I believe that if we stand together and we agree and we speak that this storm weakens, it disintegrates, it does not cause the amount of damage that it's predicted to cause. Thank you, Jennifer, for touching and agreeing with me. We have this power. I need you guys to believe this. I've seen it happen time and time and time again in my own personal life. I don't share a lot about the things that I pray for, but I am definitely a prayer warrior. And I've spoke to different things, not only in my personal life, but in the lives of other people that I know. And I've seen the power of my prayer produce the results that my prayer intended for it to do. And so I'm asking you, instead of being fearful, and Lord knows I thank you guys for the calls, the text messages, all my Tennessee family checking on me. I appreciate that. You just do not know how grateful I am that God even put you on my heart to think about me, because the storm, I'm new to Florida and the storm is hitting Florida. But I'm going to tell you a greater service that you can do. Like I told one of my cousins this morning, look, pray, because there is so much power in your prayers. So much power in your prayers. You are stronger. You are mightier than you ever could have thought. But until you tap into that power that God give you, you will never know. And so I'm just exhorting you this morning to tap into that power, and not only just for this physical storm of Hurricane Irma that's supposed to hit, but in every area of your life. I want you to speak to whatever storm that comes into your life, and I promise you, God is my witness, he's gonna work it out. He is gonna work it out. I know he will. Not going to hold you guys this morning. I appreciate you for chiming in. Didn't mean to get so riled up about this, but I truly believe the things of God. I believe God. And there is a saying that I have. If God said it, that settles it. Period. And I want you to have that type of faith. When God tells you that your faith can move mountains, believe him. Believe him. I am a living witness to, in my own personal life, that everything that God told me that I could overcome, I have overcame. And I'm sure you guys have stories too of things that, because sometimes we forget. We have this selective memory, if you will. Sometimes we forget what God has brought us through. We forget what God has delivered us from. We forget what God has done to help us deal with some of the worst situations that we ever could have experienced in our lives. And we forget sometimes, and we can get swept up by what the world is doing and what's all around us. Well, I'm here to tell you that the God that I serve, he got me. And guess what? If you serve the same God that I got, he got you too. So I want you to start believing it. And again, touch and agree with me. Share this video. Pray. If you don't want to share it, that's fine. Just pray. Just touch and agree with me that we got the power to steal this storm that the world seems to think this is going to cause so much calamity. And I ask you to just touch and agree with me with that, but then touch and agree with me in your own lives. Like you said, Miss Diane, God is able. Yes. Yes. And your daughter and your grandbabies, they're going to be just fine. And you need to speak that life over them. Speak that safety. Whatever precautions they need to take, I do agree with taking certain precautions. You know, you do need to make sure if there's an evacuation, do evacuate. Because I know in the Keys, they've made a mandatory evacuation. So yeah, I'm not saying be stupid or be crazy and do things that, you know, do things crazy. Thank you, Miss Diane. To do things that are just crazy, you know, just totally crazy off the wall. You do need to take precautions, because like I said in the beginning of this video, one thing my mama always told me is to expect the worst but look for the best. Good morning, Miss Jackie. Expect the worst but look for the best, and then believe that your faith can move those mountains. Your faith can do things it never could. Like I've told everyone that I've talked to and text with this morning, that this storm is not gonna produce anything like what they said, and I'm sticking to it, because God said that, you know, that if we have faith the size of a mustard seed, y'all, mustard seed ain't that big, and I got that type of faith. I don't know if it's much bigger than a mustard seed, but I definitely know I got mustard seed faith. And so I believe God when he tell me that I can speak to anything in my life. And today I'm speaking to Hurricane Irma, and I'm saying, hey, no. None of the destruction that they're saying, none of the intensity. I believe that this storm is going to go down to a tropical storm. Like I said, I'm not saying it's not going to rain. I'm not saying it's not going to be any damage at all. But what I am saying, it's not going to be to the intensity that's being projected. And I stand and I believe that, and I pray that you will stand and believe with me too. And more importantly, like I said, stand and believe with me in your own life, in your own personal storms. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. I thank you guys for chiming in this morning. I appreciate you for listening to me. And I hope you guys have a better than blessed day.